Ever tried sketching a location and felt limited by the supplies you can carry? No markers, no fine liners or extra pens? That tends to happen when I travel. Space is a premium, so I can only bring so many supplies. So I have this tradition whenever I travel. I sketch a postcard for my dog. She doesn't appreciate it, but I do it anyways. Well, when the Seattle postcard came in, I loved the sketch, but I knew it was missing something. So in this video, I'm going to redraw it with the supplies I have at home and add that pop that was missing the first time. By the end, you'll know exactly how to go from simple to bold and dynamic with just a few small tweaks. If you're new here, I'm Karan, and I make videos that help rigid rookies turn into loose liners. These days, I feel like I'm in my grungy sketching phase. Recently, all of my sketches have been dark, bold, and black, and I've been stepping outside of my comfort zone. Alright, let's dive in. I'm going to start with some tree outlines to frame the sketch. These aren't true to life, but they'll help me frame the composition, which is critical for the success of the final piece. If the composition is off, the entire sketch will feel unbalanced. The Space Needle is the subject and needs to stand out, and everything else should just work around it. The Space Needle is the focal point. Notice how everything around it is just a little bit more abstract, just simple boxes and shapes. With the outline set, the composition feels balanced and strong. But right now, it's flat and lifeless. The energy and emotion of the city are missing. But with the right colors, it'll transform, bringing depth and mood into the piece. I'll start with the greens in the trees, just a mid-tone shape to suggest the leaves without overwhelming the viewer. Now for the Space Needle. I'll add a touch of yellow to make it stand out against the darker elements in the background. Finally, I'll apply grays to the surrounding buildings with lighter shades in the background to create some atmospheric perspective. Now the sketch is really taking shape. The colors are subtle but effective, giving the city a more dynamic feel. It's starting to capture that overcast, moody Seattle vibe. Next, I'm going to anchor the sketch by adding bold black lines. This is where the contrast comes in that will make everything pop. These thick, dark lines will solidify the composition and give it that grungy, dynamic feel. Without these bold lines, the sketch feels soft and unfinished. We need that extra layer of boldness to pull the composition together and give the buildings the weight they deserve. I'm starting by thickening the lines around the Space Needle. This will draw your eye directly to it. I'll continue to add thick lines and shapes to show depth and distance. The darker the elements, the closer it is. With these bold black lines in place, the sketch has a strong presence. The contrast gives it the punch it needs, and the composition feels anchored and dynamic. The sketch is nearly complete, but it still lacks that full atmosphere. I need to capture the mood of that overcast, dreary day with some subtle detail. So I'll add clouds to capture that Seattle energy. I'm using a dark gray marker to paint in the shadows of the clouds, keeping it light and airy. I'll add a touch of purple for a bit of harmony, but not too much, just enough to hint at a stormy day. And there you have it, a grungy, moody sketch of Seattle. From the bold outlines to the expressive colors and strong contrast, this piece captures the city's personality just like I promised at the beginning. This method of sketching, loose yet bold, lets you create dynamic pieces with just a few tools. And this is just one method for getting loose and bold sketches. If you're interested in another approach, check out my video on the COC method. And if you're just getting started, I've curated a playlist to help you go from nervous to confident.